A rusty little car with a monocle. Comes up to your waist. 14 horsepower. Your grandpa's lawnmower moves faster than this thing. Takes over 12 seconds to hit 50 miles per hour. And this is the guy personally running executions of spies, blowing up race cars on live TV, and maybe the exact reason Earth became a dead trash heap in Wall-E. Everyone thinks Professor Z in Cars 2 is just the funny German dude with a monocle, a cartoonish sidekick to the real villain, Miles Axelrod. A goofy little nerd. I thought the same thing for like 10 years. Then I put together everything about him from the movie, the deleted scenes, the extended materials, and it hit me. This tiny green bug is one of the coldest villains Pixar has ever made. His car is a real model, the 1957 Zundap Janus, and that's where things get creepy. Now, important to know, most of this is fan theory stuff, which might not be true, but you're here to hear everything worth knowing about this character. Janus, an ancient Roman god with two faces. One looks to the past, one to the future. God of doorways, transitions, deception. And the car itself is literally built that way: doors in the front, doors in the back, identical, passengers sitting back to back. From the outside, you can't tell if it's driving toward you or away from you. Pixar literally picked a car for their villain whose name translates to two-faced. His body is a metaphor for his job. He's a spy. He's physically impossible to read correctly. The license plate, BADGA 58, technically Baden-Baden, Germany 1958, but read it out loud in English. Bad guy 58, bad guy model number 58. This isn't a fan stretch, this is baked into the design. The character is screaming at the audience through his own license plate, "I'm the villain," and nobody catches it. Even Chrome, the super mega spy agency, can't decode a plate that literally says, "Hi, I'm a criminal." Full name Otto Wolfgang Zundap, professor, an actual academic title. In the official materials, there's a profile called Young Professor Z, a young nerdy scientist who, even back then, had one goal: world domination. He didn't become a villain out of some random grudge. He planned to take over the world from day one. He just pretended to be nice at first. Most viewers fill in the blank themselves. He got bullied. He got bitter. Nope. He was born with this idea and quietly nursed it for years behind a nerd mask. The voice, actor Thomas Kretschmann, recorded the dialogue in both English and German himself. But listen closely. He switches accents inside a single scene. He says missile, the British way. He says can't, the American way, on purpose.
Wunderbar. With Finn McMissile gone, who can stop us now?
The character is built from different accents, linguistic camouflage. The crazy German professor is a role, a mask he wears in the criminal world so people underestimate him. Who's actually under the costume? We never find out. The color. Every other lemon is rusty, orange, brown. Zundap isn't. He's cold cyan. And that color reads toxic, chemical, like poison in a test tube, hospital lighting, radiation. Pixar made him visually different from his own gang. Grem and Acer are orange, easy to read. He's sterile, like a scalpel. He's not a broken piece of junk, he's poison. The monocle. Pure aristocratic European nobleman vibes from the 1800s. Now pair that with a 14 horsepower lawnmower. He wears a monocle to make up for the fact that physically he's a joke. I'm small and weak, but I'm an intellectual. Plus that beat up antenna on top like a comb over on a bald guy. Paper armor against a world that won't look at him. The sound. Skywalker Sound recorded an actual two-stroke, 250 cubic centimeters Zundap Janus engine for him. Not synthesized. They went and recorded a real one. It sounds like a lawnmower. McQueen has a deep V8. Francesco Bernoulli has a Formula One screen. Zundap sounds humiliating. Every time he tries to make a cool getaway, his own engine betrays him. But his EMP weapon sounds different. Clean, high-pitched electronic hum. A weapon from the future. His body is a 50s reject. His brain is sci-fi death. That gap is exactly what makes him so scary. Horror that sounds like a lawnmower. That's all about his appearance. The actions are a whole different story. And this is where the character stops being cartoony at all. First seen the capture of the British spy Leland Turbo. Zundap doesn't just kill him. Turbo gets stuffed into a wooden crate, sealed up, and his remains, that's literally a corpse crushed into a metal cube. In a kid's movie. This is in a film they showed to 6-year-olds. That's just the warm-up. Next, the American agent Rod Torque Redline. Zundap personally runs the torture. He fills Redline with his own invention Alanol and slowly blasts him with an electromagnetic pulse. And he explains it to him, scientifically, calmly, like he's giving a lecture. The fuel inside starts boiling, it expands. It rips the engine apart from the inside. Redline is screaming, begging. At the end, the engine explodes. This is medical torture, a specifically designed way to hurt cars, like someone invented a weapon for humans that boils your blood from the inside. Where does Pixar get this kind of brutality? From deleted scenes. In the original version of Cars 2, the main villain was supposed to be a character named Zil, a Russian mob boss based on Soviet ZIL trucks. In the storyboards, Zil hunts a spy named Healy in a Prague junkyard. Healy gets cornered. His tires get punctured, he's hung from a crane, and slowly lowered into a giant crusher. While Healy is dropping down, Zil steps out of the shadows and calmly interrogates him. Healy talks back. Zil, with a cold little chuckle, says, "We'll see," and just stands there, watching, as Healy gets crushed alive. The scene got cut, but when Pixar split Zil's role between Axelrod and Zundap, the brutality didn't go anywhere. It went to Zundap. That's why he's the one running Turbo's execution. That's where the method came from, crushing the victim into a cube. Zundap basically ate Zil. He took his coldness, his methods, his lethality, and hid all of it inside the body of a cute little car with a monocle. Cute on the outside, Zil on the inside. Now here's the part that actually breaks your brain. There's a famous fan theory: all Pixar movies are one shared universe. And there's a hardcore version of it that Zundap fits into perfectly. Cars doesn't happen after humans left Earth in Wall-E. It happens before. The era of talking cars is the reason Earth became a dead planet. And this is where Zundap becomes the architect of the apocalypse. His Alanol plan was built on discrediting alternative fuel, showing the world that green energy is dangerous, that it blows up cars. On the surface, they stopped him. But what did the world see? The World Grand Prix, live broadcast. Billions of cars watching vehicles spontaneously explode after fueling up with alternative fuel. Yeah, later it came out that it was a conspiracy. But the connection, green energy equals deadly explosion, already got burned into everyone's brain forever. The global industry panicked and rolled back to gasoline. The oil company's monopoly became absolute, by and large. The same corporation that owns literally everything on the planet in WALL-E got full control. Uncontrolled fossil fuel consumption leads to pollution, which makes Earth uninhabitable. Meaning Professor Z isn't just a salty little dwarf. He's literally the one who sentenced humanity to exile. One tiny green bug with a monocle set off the chain reaction that ended with a living Earth turning into a dead one. The motivation isn't money. Axelrod already has money. Zundap is acting out of personal resentment. His real-world model, the 1957 Zundap Janus, was a commercial flop in real life. They made 6,902 units and shut down production. People laughed at it. In the Cars world, these kinds of vehicles are called lemons buckets of bolts. People mock them, abandon them. And Zundap, with the brain of a nuclear physicist, spends decades building up that rage. Then decides, if you're gonna look down on me for being broken, I'll break the whole world. Let every pretty, fast, progressive car depend on my oil. Let them come to me and let them beg. The organization's manifesto. They laughed at us. Now it's our turn to laugh. Speaking of the organization, the Lemons aren't one gang, they're 4 clans. Gremlins, AMC Gremlin, Brute Force. Pacers, AMC Pacer. Hugo's Yugoslavian models, Trunkov's Soviet ones. Like the real Italian mafia, but made up of defective cars from all over the world. And they don't answer to Axelrod. They answer to Zundap. Yeah, ideologically, Axelrod was behind everything. He's the one who found these lemons and gave them a shared cause. But finding a bunch of angry guys is one thing, and turning them into a disciplined crime syndicate is something else entirely. Axelrod was the face and the wallet of the operation, but Professor Z was the architect of the system. He built the hierarchy, merged 4 scattered clans into a structure with clear logistics, and armed them with future tech. If Axelrod was the prophet of this movement, Zundap was the field commander who built a global criminal army from a pile of junk. Everyone thinks Zundap is the lackey. Axelrod is the boss, Zundap is his dog, but the final bomb strapped to Mater, it's armed by Axelrod's voice, protects the boss. Wait, why Axelrod's voice specifically? Why would Zundap, the weapons designer, make a detonator that only disarms for one specific car? If he was the underling, he'd make a universal mechanism. Now watch this. Insurance policy. If the plan fails, who does the evidence drag down first? The guy whose biometric signature is wired into the device. Irrefutable proof of participation in mass murder. And it points straight to Axelrod, not Zundap. He's just the engineer. It's his boss who has to explain in court why his voice activates a weapon of mass destruction. Zundap literally set up his own boss with his own invention. Masterclass. How to be the number 2 guy who's actually number 1. And fans take it even further, suggesting even his arrest was part of the plan. Yeah, if you watch the movie straight, we see the professor panicking, trying to escape from Finn McMissile, and just losing the fight. But in this hardcore theory, all of his resistance was a performance. He knew Chrome was already on him and there was no escape. So he faked a panic attack and let Finn arrest him. Why? Because he knew rescue would come later. All the shame, the public trial. The public rage that all falls on Axelrod, because his voice is on the detonator. Axelrod rots in prison with a destroyed reputation, while Zundap, just an engineer, gets slapped with soft technical charges. Next, his EMP camera, a weapon worth billions on the black market. In the finale, it gets left in Big Ben. Grem and Acer haul it into the clock mechanism, they get taken out. And the weapon just stays there in the gears, nobody grabs it. Shrome doesn't confiscate it, like the writers forgot, or deliberately left it as an open thread. The black market theory lines up perfectly. Zundap was an internationally wanted arms dealer before Cars 2 even started. He worked with terrorists, with crime syndicates. His secret partners grabbed the camera and sold it at an underground auction. Money from a sale like that equals guaranteed freedom. One detail people miss. Finn McMissile is the only person in the whole movie who knows Zundap by his full name. Not Holly, not Chrome, not even the Lemons themselves. But Finn calls him by it. How does he know him this personally? There's just a hint they have a long history, which means Zundap is an old enemy. Arms dealing, terrorists, the Alanal operation isn't his first or biggest, it's just the one they finally caught him on. Like Al Capone, who didn't go down for the empire, he went down for taxes. We only saw the tip of the iceberg. And you know what actually took down his whole global operation? Dumb luck. The war veteran Sarge quietly swapped the dangerous Alanal in McQueen's tank for Fillmore's biofuel. Off-screen, just because a paranoid old soldier doesn't trust industrial chemicals, and that's it. When the EMP camera fires at McQueen, his fuel is safe, doesn't react. McQueen's alive. The plan falls apart. Picture Zundap's face. He spent years designing this weapon, tortured and killed people to perfect the mechanics, set up global television coverage. And the whole thing collapses because a veteran grandpa swapped his friend's fuel. His intellect couldn't account for friendship and random chance. That's the moment the mask cracks completely. He screams, "Why didn't my death ray kill you?" A spy who trained for years to hide emotions loses it in 5 seconds. Because under the mask there was just a bitter little lemon. And his bitterness, pushed to its limit, looks like this. Pathetic. And here's the real message of Cars 2. Compare Zundap to Mater. Mater is a lemon by every definition. An old, rusty, beat-up tow truck everyone laughs at. Mater has the exact same reasons to get bitter. Systemic disrespect, a life on the edge of a beautiful world. But Mater chooses differently. He accepts himself. He wears his dents like medals. In Porto Corsa, he tells the lemon bosses straight to their face, "I've been taking the same stuff my whole life, but getting rich and powerful won't fix what's broken inside you." And he's right. Zundap doesn't want to hear it. He decides the cure for the pain is crushing the people who laughed. 2 lemons, 1 trauma, 2 opposite paths. Being broken isn't a choice. Becoming a monster is. The irony is that even while destroying the world, Zundap is still a slave to it. Real freedom from trauma is walking away, finding value outside the hierarchy of speed and shine. He's demanding respect from the exact elite cars he claims to hate. His EMP, his plot, his kidnappings, a desperate plea to be noticed. The more he takes revenge on the elite, the more he's chained to them. His hatred is his chain, and he wrapped it around himself. And the creepiest part, how he got taken down. Axelrod isn't exposed by some super spy with a supercomputer. He's exposed by Mater, by the smell of his oil and his Whitworth bolts, a specific outdated British thread type. Axelrod publicly marketed himself as a progressive electric car, but on the inside he turned out to be a regular gas car with old British bolts. And a rusty country tow truck sniffed it out. Literally. An old-school mechanic who spent his whole life fixing junk uncovered the biggest lie in the whole automotive world through oil and bolts. And here's what psychologically destroys Zundap. Not the arrest, the fact that he was beaten by one of his own. Another lemon, just one who accepted himself. Zundap spent his whole life trying to stand out from maters with his monocle, his color, his accents, his title, and he lost to exactly the kind of guy he refused to be. Most kids' movie villains are simple. They want money, power, they're mad at the world. Zundap isn't. He's an intellectual. Never raises his voice as long as everything's going to plan. Even when he's explaining to Redline how he's about to die, he uses the neutral tone of a scientist, like he's reading a lab report. That's what makes him so disturbing. Rage, you can understand that. Calm, academic sadism, that's a different category. That's a fully formed psychopath. In a cartoon about cars. He's small, green, wears a monocle, sounds like a lawnmower, and he's maybe the coldest, most philosophically terrifying villain Pixar has ever created. Cars 2 isn't a fun little spy cartoon with chase scenes. It's a political thriller, a psychological drama, a parable about how trauma turns into terror and how intellect, broken by resentment, becomes a weapon of mass destruction. And Professor Otto Wolfgang Zundap is the key that opens the second layer of this movie. They didn't beat him. They just shelved him. And somewhere out there in the deleted scenes and the extended materials, this character is still moving, still planning, still waiting for his moment.